Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first Wimbledon podcast. Today, we have a bunch of Federer fans with us, myself included, and we're going to talk about what's going on at the Wimbledon Championships and who's in the best position to win the tournament and something else. So, starting off with the guy we most of us support here, Roger Federer. What do you guys think of how he's been playing in the last three games that he played at Wimbledon? And what do you think about his performances? Do you guys have anything to say? What do you like the most? What you didn't like? What do you think? What's going on? How's he been playing?
I think it's been a gradual increase in his performance in terms of if you look at the round one, he barely survived that, right? And I think that's probably the biggest competition he's had to face so far. And the other two, round two and round three, have been a smooth sailing. So I think, and if what's been going on right now stays true, I think round four would be quite smooth for him. But again, I think that the key in that round with Sonego, I think, is serve. And I'm not sure if, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think his is the serve game is pretty good. So I think that's what's come in handy for him if he wants to have any chance against Federer. So.
And the case with Federer these days is he's about to touch 40. And unlike the last decade where he used to get off on flyers, this time, I mean, as he's aging, that's not the case anymore. Like we saw against Manarino as well, he needed time to settle. And Manarino is a player whose ground strokes, when it comes to backhand part of his game, are just lethal. We just saw how many winners he was craving in point after point. So, and then, I mean, I would say we were sort of lucky to, go make through that round. But after that, the game against Nori and Gasquet, I think Federer found his groove somehow, and that should be the case for Sonego as well. But then from quarter-final round onwards, I'm a bit skeptical when it comes to maybe Medvedev, and then in the semis we might face, if we overcome Medvedev, then we might face Berrettini or Zverev. So, and then of course we know who's going to be in the final. That other half is just too easy.
No,
I mean,
we still don't know Djokovic. He's a good court player, but yeah, he's also got a few players at his end of the draw
But
that can at
I
least
think,
give him challenge.
Yes.
yeah, I think with the
Actually,
draw,
Djokovic is,
yeah, sorry, good.
yes, actually, Djokovic's fourth round opponent is Christian Garin, who is a clay court player. So he has got an easy fourth round compared to Federer or Zverev. And then quarterfinal also, I think his quarterfinal is a little tough with Rublev. He's playing well on grass. He made the final at Halle ATP 500 grass event that happens prior to Wimbledon. And in semifinals, Tsitsipas went out in the first round, and his semifinal opponent is going to be either Batista Agut or Shapovalov. Shapovalov did play well against Murray, but still, if he reaches there, it will be his first semifinal. So I think Djokovic has a simpler route to finals this time.
I mean,
Okay.
I think Federer, he also didn't expect like the first round will be that difficult, and yeah, as we all said, he was lucky to survive it. And in the both with Gasquet and with Nori, he started pretty well. I mean, his service game was top notch, and also the second serve, Nori said that his second serve was pretty well. Only I think in the third set, and I think it was because of Nori playing really well, really you know, picking up his defensive game that he won the third round. But yeah, I mean, if Federer needs to, you know, go really long distance at Wimbledon, he has to rely on his, I think his forehand, which is his greatest asset. It hasn't been that strong as of now that we have seen. It has been rusty, and that needs to improve for sure. But I mean, moving wise, he's moving pretty well. I mean, given his age and the injuries that he had carried, but his service games have been top notch. And the thing that he needs to improve on is he'll hit a lot of winners as well, right? So his forehand needs to be a lot better than what it has been so far in the tournament. And Sonego, he's a big hitter, man. He has a huge forehand and he can really trouble Federer. But Federer will certainly, with his flexibility and the variance he has with a lot of drop shots and slices, he will test Sonego's versatility. And I think that's where Sonego will find it very difficult to, match Federer's play. So yeah, I mean, I think Federer will win it in, I think, 4 rounds or something like that. But he needs to be really good in the service game.
And Sonego is also playing
All
well
right.
late.
And I would
One
like to
week,
touch upon. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was saying Sonego is also playing really good of late. 1 week before Wimbledon, there's a tournament, 250 tournament in Eastbourne. So he was in the finals in that tournament. So he's playing good on grass. And he also made some finals on clay this time as well. So he's an informed player.
All right. And I would like to touch upon something that Nishid mentioned, how he's had some nerves starting his first couple of games. And why do you guys think that's happening, and whether this would hamper his chances of maybe getting to the final stages of the tournament? What do you guys think? Because he's shown some nerves. He started the first few games of both. I think all three matches he played a bit slower than his usual self, and he was not moving perfectly. A lot of unforced errors, uh, more second serves than first serves. So what do you think? Would this hamper his chances, or he would maybe stop doing that in the next rounds?
I
See,
think one
when he
thing,
played against Nori and he'll be playing against Sonego, these players haven't played much on center court, uh, and that too against an opponent like Federer. So when in the initial matches when Federer had his nerves, I'm sure the other opponents also had their nerves. Like in the last game versus Nori, we saw that in the opening game itself we had 3 double faults. So when it comes to playing, players who are not that experienced as compared to Federer or so-called the next gen, they will also have some nerves to settle. But moving in from the quarter towards the quarterfinal or semi-finals or finals, there you won't get so much time to settle yourself. You'll have to play in a proper manner from the first point itself. And that's where there might be a problem when he plays against some big names like maybe Medvedev or Berrettini and Djokovic. So on that aspect, maybe he'll need to improve a bit.
I think one of the big things that you'd see of how his nerves have settled through the group stages, I think, is to the fact that I think he scored 70% of his first serve in the game against Nori, and which wasn't the case in the earlier rounds. So I think that was pretty clear from his strategies that he wanted to work on his opponent's weakness, which was Nori's backhand return to set that up for Federer's forehand return. I think, and that's what I saw throughout the game. So I think he has gotten a good groove into working on the opponent's weakness rather than moving around the court and all of that. So I think that's what's going to be key for him if he wants
And
to.
one thing that he did against Nori was his service games were really quick, right? He didn't give a lot of time to Nori for settling. He was just picking the ball and serving it, as you said, in the wide side of the court towards his backhand,
Yeah.
which obviously he lacked power. But I mean, the same tactic won't work against someone like Djokovic, right? Because his backhand returns are something else. I mean, if you want to go
But to get to Djokovic, you probably have to stick
exactly
to
the good thing about I mean this year's Wimbledon for Federer, but for neutral fans it is that Rafa is not here, right? So it's like one less villain for Federer that is not here, and I mean, if you see the apex, then these three are there. I mean, yeah, surely Zverev and Berrettini, these guys will surely give him trouble if he was to qualify for the next round. But I think his experience, and if it goes to, I think, a 5-set thriller, then Federer will have an upper hand against his the next gen talents that are already in this tournament. So yeah, he has certain edge with in terms of experience and the way he moves in grass. Yeah, he has taken time, but I feel that Wimbledon and Federer, they both are synonymous, and with time he will get better, and he will give these new kids a lot of trouble till he meets someone like you know Djokovic, who will I think give him the hardest time, as he has given him in the past tournaments, 2 or 3 tournaments. He has snatched the title from Federer. So this time around, it's going to be very difficult for Federer, but he needs to really work on his forehand, because that is his biggest asset. And so far, we haven't seen the best out of his forehand yet.
Also, I think Federer changed his approach in the second match against Gasquet. In the first round, also, he was playing a little passive. He was trying to get into the rally and then see what happens. Maybe the opponent makes mistake, or he was trying to get into rallies, but that didn't work. So I think in the second round, after the first set with Gasquet, which was a tiebreaker, he became more aggressive. He tried to make the points to keep the points short. And in Nori against, especially the Federer is known to slice his when he's returning on serve, backhand serve. If the serve is on his backhand, he tries to slice it and then create the point from there. But against Nori, he was mostly trying to drive through his backhand. Like he was trying to dominate from the first point. So even on his return games as well. So he's trying to keep the point short.
What do you think? I think the news just came in, right? The center court will have 100% crowd attendance, and everyone knows that. I mean, in the last game itself, the loud applause that for each Federer point was massive. I don't know what it does to his head. It does good or bad. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of pressure for him. But what do you guys think it does to him when the
I
100%?
mean,
Because 90% of crowd are gonna support him, if not 100.
see, the good thing over here is that there's no more Brit remaining in the draw. So when it comes to Federer, he's going to get all the support out of all the remaining 32 players. I think he anyone he faces, he will get 90-95% of the crowd. So, and he himself said during the Halle tournament where he got kicked out by FA that he felt that he needed some crowd support. And I think when it from quarterfinal onwards, where there's 100% attendance, that will certainly help him. Like what the 12th man does in football, a crowd in tennis is also very important.
I think talking just about the crowd, if you guys saw how Djokovic was getting heckled by the crowds, just usual. And I think one thing that people haven't understood that gets the best out of him. The more
Exactly.
you heckle him, the better he performs. So I think like people should just shut up like while he's playing and that's when I think he might get nervous or some shit like
That's
Yeah, he's
so-called
not used to that.
wolfman.
exactly.
Getting the support of crowd, maybe he'll get nervous as to, okay, what the hell is
Yeah,
this
what's
happening?
happening? Just to play with his mind. It's just that okay,
Yeah,
stop. Just don't say anything. Let him.
I don't know what it is about Djokovic. I mean, it's not just in Wimbledon, right? It's
Yeah,
even in French Open, against Tsitsipas, majority were supporting Tsitsipas, but it's the quality of Djokovic that made him win. But in most of the tournaments and in every matches, he's usually being booed. I don't know what it's all about.
No,
I have no idea.
yes.
he's not the crowd favorite. I think he would never be the crowd favorite. Whoever he's up against, the other guy would definitely get more support than um, he has. Like maybe it's his off-court nature, and maybe it's his on-court behavior. The crowd doesn't like him at all.
I think also
I
could
mean,
be
he's
because of
the
his contemporaries, because of the amount of support Federer and Nadal get. I think that was there's nothing left for for people like there's nothing left for him. So I think and there's always one villain
yeah.
in every sport. Like if you look at F1, if anybody follows F1 here, I think Hamilton, even though he's like a 7-time world champion, you would not see him being the voter of the day or the driver of the day. Sorry, in any of the races. It's probably somebody in the middle of the pack or someone else. So that's always one villain. in every sport, right? So
Yeah. So moving on
So I
to
mean,
the next round matches. I would like to ask you guys who would be your favorite opponents for Roger Federer to face. Who do you guys think would be perfect for him? The type of tennis he's playing right now, and looking at who's good on grass and who is not. Who do you guys think would be perfect for him to play against
I think
in the next rounds? Yeah.
someone not named Djokovic, Medvedev, and Berrettini.
No, yeah, that of course, but comparing their grass court games versus the forms, the form they're in right now, who do you guys think would be perfect for him to not give him that big of a challenge?
I think Sonego is a perfect round four opponent for him. If he plays like he has been playing in round 2 and 3, he should be able to move past Sonego. And in quarterfinals, I think he would like to face Hubert Hurkacz, who won Miami this year. After winning Miami, he has not been playing that well. It's just in this tournament that he has won 3 matches. So I think he would be a perfect opponent for quarterfinals for Federer because Medvedev is playing really well. So last night he had his first 2 sets down victory against Marin Cilic. He also won in Mallorca 250 grass event. So I think Hubert Hurkacz would be ideal quarterfinal opponent for Federer because it will be his first time, so he might get nervous. I think that will benefit Federer.
who all
All
are
right.
his possible opponents? By the way, I mean the two you mentioned. How about that kid, the one who got the walkover from Kyrgios yesterday? Is he
He,
also?
I think if he plays Federer, he will play in semi-finals. He's playing his round of 16 match against Zverev. So he has to beat Zverev, then he has to beat Berrettini, and then he'll face Federer in semi-finals.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so
Oh.
finally, let's talk about some predictions. So where do you guys think Roger Federer would finish the tournament? What round do you guys think he has in himself to go all the way, or maybe semifinals, maybe the finals? What do you guys think? Predictions, and how confident are you that he can go all the way?
yeah, I think he's gonna have his name up on the champions board. I feel that's just my optimism speaking. But to be honest, I think I see him getting to the finals. But again, I'm not gonna speak anything yet.
You can never be sure when it comes to
Yeah.
Federer. I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen how many break points he fails to convert. That is the major issue which he has and which he will always have.
I think it also has to do with him having the drive. I think that's what's going to be key. If he still has the fire left in him to just go all out, I think that's going to be key as well.
The way he fist pumped after last night's victory, I think he still has that fire in him.
Exactly.
And I think if Federer brings his A game, like if his serve is on fire, if his forehand is working, then I think he definitely has a chance.
All right, so I guess we all are really confident about him winning this year, which would be, I think, unprecedented. I don't think a 39-year-old guy has won the tournament ever before. But let's see what happens.
Talking about 39-year-olds, how many have ever played a Grand Slam quarterfinal or a round of 16? Do you know anyone who is 39 years old and has played a Grand Slam like this?
I know the last
that
oldest
good at tennis history, but maybe someone has in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, so the last oldest man to reach the fourth round in Wimbledon was 46 years ago.
Wow.
So, I mean, that speaks in itself.
And I think the oldest
So no one has done that ever since. Yeah.
The oldest champion was 37 years old, Ken Rosewall in 1970s or 80s, Australian.
Okay, so nothing in the modern era. I don't think so, right? Like nothing comes to mind. Yeah.
So not bad at all, then I guess.
Yeah, this is his last lap, I think, when it comes to Grand Slams. I mean, if he
You
needs to
never
win,
know. You never
The
know.
last
He might
lap.
just take a break for 2 years and come back to play that one Wimbledon. So who knows?
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for this wonderful discussion. We talked a lot about Roger Federer, and we know we all love doing that. And let's keep our fingers crossed for um, his performance in the next rounds, and we would hopefully see him lift the championship once again this time around. Thank you so much, guys, and we see you next time around.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye bye.